Right, thanks for staying with us. So we saw a report that caught our attention, and it's important we bring some of these stories to you. A student who refused to go home for the coronavirus lockdown died in her boyfriend's house after unsafe abortion. Now, this didn't happen in Nigeria, but it was important that we discuss it because it's somewhat related to the story we took last week about the young lady who had killed her child. And it's important we bring these kinds of stories to the fore because lots of parents have built a relationship around their children such that they don't come forward to you when there's a problem. And for a girl to opt to stay at her boyfriend's house instead of going home during the lockdown is in itself a problem. And them deciding to go on an abortion. But according to the story, the young man actually was trying to get her to the hospital, but he didn't have enough money. So obviously you're dating somebody and both of you obviously are she's 20 years old. I wouldn't say they're underage. But the point is that a lot of parents and family are in this situation where children make mistakes and the children are not comfortable coming forward. YK, we're going to just take this for a few minutes. What are your thoughts on this when you hear this kind of stories? What happened? What comes to mind?
I think when you have a problem, the first thing you have to do is approach your parents. Now, parents too have to be more open because there are a lot of parents that you will be so scared you will not be able to tell. I had parents that I could discuss with when by the time I realized that, look, if I couldn't go to my mother, I would go to my father. If I couldn't go to my father, I would go to my mother. So you have to have one parent.
At least. Or an adult or somebody that you trust.
Yeah, that you can confide in or talk to. So you don't take these life-threatening decisions on your own, because both of them were young. Yeah. Both of them probably thought their parents would kill them. Yeah. You know.
I mean, it's really sad to listen. But let me hear your own thoughts on this.
I am grateful for I always talk about my relationship with my dad. But my mom was threatened from 12 upwards. It was constant threats. Don't try it. Don't even dare it. As in, don't come home safe. In fact, try it first. You will stop school, you will sit with that child, you will live with the consequence of it. So early in life, I always calculated whatever risk I took. I kept the friends that I thought would, fall in line with the rules at home. I kept, the kind of relationships. I don't miss all those things. I just know that if those consequences were, how will I deal with them? But I had a good relationship with my dad where we discussed things. I remembered when I had that first classmate come to my house for school notes and it was a boy and my father just called me and said, you're a fine girl, my girl. You're a very fine girl. Can we talk? And then I had a talk about how boyfriends and all those things don't work. They don't mix well here. If you take those decisions, this is how they will affect you. Everything was put out there, straight up. Right. I had mentors, my auntie, people. And that's how I believe it should be done. So talk to your child. Let your child be aware of this. Fast forward, when I later learned about resource factor, those were things I could thank God for. Because I remember I lost a classmate in SS1 to abortion. She just, just like that. Growing up, I met friends who would do these things normally. I see abortion as a choice. It's not something that whether you talk to a child about, the child would avoid. Whether you're there or not, if the child has to, like this is a 20-year-old girl. She just thought this was the best decision for her. This is not about whether her parents would accept her, hands open. I know mothers who will cry to their daughters that, please, don't even try. A friend of mine was her own mother's only child, and she was considering abortion. But fortunately, friends around her quickly let the mother know that this is the next step. She's pregnant, that's why she's not coming home. She's trying to abort it.
Right. So she had a good friend system.
She had a friend system. So her mom was the one who went to school and said, please, give me the child. Come and give me this child. You are my only child. And that's how she got married early and had several children.
I saw a quote recently that really got me, that the way we were raised, I think it was Alibaba that posted it, said, I'm trying to remember the quote. It says, the way we were raised is different from the way we're raising our children. So we cannot train our children the way we were raised because the world we were raised in no longer exists. So don't raise your children the way you were raised because the world you were raised for doesn't exist anymore. You need to study and see where we are and know that's how you need to raise your children to be able to adapt, because the truth is that we were raised with threats, raised with don't do this, no sex. But the truth is they are in a world that activity is no more such a sacred activity, although it's still sacred for us, especially as a Christian. But at the same time, we must come to that reality that this thing is out there. It's happening.
You can make it.
I think
you can make it sacred, but at the same time,
you can in your child's life. Sorry, YK, the way you talk to your child. At the time I went to school, my friends in secondary school were being pimped. That's my own reality, and it's not new. What people, it's not different. But I lived in a world where when we come home, we're allowed to talk about it. I'll be like, this is what my friend invited me for this kind of hangout. And my parents will be like, no, those things happen, but this is not you. My mom used to make it like every sex partner is a covenant you enter. So that's the way I see it.
Right.
There's only one person I want to do that covenant with. And
Let me get white.
I'm just talking about the way you're saying, the way we were raised, and you know, it's the times that have changed. This day and age, children have access to things that we never had.
Yes.
In our day, it's only rich people that had telephone. Ordinary people did not have telephone. We did not have telephone in our house. Now, everybody has access to the internet. Just get 100 naira data.
That's it.
The world is your oyster.
Totally.
So you have to think of that, and then, so because if you just tell your child,
Don't.
let me look at you,
Don't
this woman is going haywire. You know, so she's going to go to her friends. So take your phone call first.
Esther, thanks for calling. Are you there?
I'm here, ma. Good morning,
Go
ma.
ahead, please. Go ahead, please.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, ma. Ma, I want to talk about the students who died in the boyfriend's house.
Yes, go ahead.
Personally, growing up, I was raised by an Itako woman who would tell me, don't do this, don't do that. If you try me, if you do that. And then growing up, I was able to create a relationship with my father. My father would once in a while, you know, have a conversation with the children. You can talk to me, you can do this. So we got closer to our father. I remember when my sister got a letter from a boy in school. She brought it home, took it to my father. You know, my father was able to address her and all that. You find out that parents of these days, they don't get close to their children. You scare the child away. You push the child in the hands of a stranger. So when such a child has an issue, they don't come to you. They pick whatever option is available to them. And in the end, you find out that you're ruining their life. Why not talk to your children? Give them options to pick from. Growing up, I told myself, okay, my parents lost it so much. My dad would always support this. Why can't I just pick the right choices? I lost them growing up. And today, I'm proud of myself. Fantastic. They are not there with me, but
fantastic.
Yes, I'm
Thank
proud
you so
of the
much for that
choices I
insight. Because we see also the importance of fathers, fathers and their daughters. Yes, mothers are a given, but when the father is close
her mom, she's a Sako, I'm a Sako as well. So I think it's an Sako woman thing to threaten our children. I'm sad. I find it sad that I'm almost like that now.
Don't threaten your child.
She is like that.
I'm like that
She's
now.
always, if I'm talking to her on the phone and Gufran just does, if I come and give you a knock on your head, I'm like, come on.
No.
Why do you want to give her a knock on the head? You know, so maybe it's... But
there's another...
my mother was not a very strict
person.
But if you did something, she would just look at you so disappointedly that you will feel bad. She will not shout at you. She will just, so you did this.
Oh, you yourself, you want to go and beat yourself.
You want to rewind. So my mother was not a screaming mother. So I think that disappointment...
Well, okay, I had an example. While I was watching somebody's Instagram live, a lady made an illustration that really got to me. She said that when we were growing up, we had walls. You know, just remember the four corners of the house. You are in the middle. And those walls protect you. So that wall is made up of your parents, community, values, culture. Today, those walls are down. Your child is alone. There's that four corner is no more there. It's just your child and the world access. So you as a parent, you can't keep acting as if those walls are there. You must also be part of the world, know what is going on here. So as that child is getting that information, they know that you are still that person that can be their pillar of support. So if you have that in mind as a parent, you continually...
There's also this angle of
support
children going through difficult parents, broken homes. So if a child whose father rejected as a young girl would scream for love, she would pick it in all the wrong places. And those are usually victims. Growing up, those were the major, examples we saw growing up.
And I think we used to, as a community, Nigerians, Africans, we always looked out for our neighbors' children. That has, because now, when you talk about these walls, I let even bring it to reality. When I was growing up, the walls were low. You could see into every house. Yes. Now everybody has their walls high. You can't see into another person's house. So you can't see your neighbor's friend smoking. Your neighbor's son, smoking, or daughter.
Of course.
And you don't you will first give him a hot slap. Boss, who gave you that cigarette? Before you go and report
to the father.
To the father or the mother. But I remember when on a tour I went to France. I went to France and I saw this child smoking and we're like, you know, someone.
Don't try it.
You are in France, so don't go and meet him smoking.
Yeah.
It's in Nigeria, you can do that one. Because you will not accept it in Nigeria, seeing a child, a 12-year-old.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up on this, but it's something that is important that we continue to talk about these things to help parents out there know that, listen, the rules are different. You must help part of your child's growing up, because when they make mistakes, you want them to come to you, because nobody is perfect. Even you as a parent are not perfect. So when children make mistakes, youngsters, even if they are young adults, let them be able to come to you. At least you can guide them. So this young lady that died may not have died if her parents had been a support system for her. We have to go on a break. It's COVID-19 is still out there. I don't want us to act like it's not there. So when we go on a break, when we come back, we'll discuss this updates from WHO with the DG of NAFDAC and the possible remedies that they're working on.